Hello, I'm Cheyenne.
And I'm Frankie.
And this is Conbini Cult. Thank you for coming to this week's episode. How's it going, Frankie?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a nice weather on this wonderful Saturday.
Yeah.
Gonna get ramen later.
It's nice and cozy today. I'm getting a little annoyed though because it's the last day of February at the time of recording, but some days it's really warm and it feels like spring, but today is kind of chilly and I'm getting really tired of figuring out what to wear every day. But
that is true.
Other than that, so far so good.
The day that we're recording, it's the last day of February.
Yeah.
I love February. I'm so mad. Why is this month so short?
It is.
One of the best months.
The best month is so short. You said it's a great time for traveling and everything too, or you just like it because of the weather as well, or?
Yeah, things are not super busy. And then also, if you want to see snow, it's easy to go up north and go to a snowy place. But then also, there's early blooming cherry blossoms that are very bright pink.
I see.
Though haters will say it's Photoshop.
I see. So it's just an overall
Plum blossoms too.
Good time of year to kind of cover all the bases, I guess, in terms of
there's so many
seasonal
things you can
change
see.
in Japan. And it's not like super hot or super cold, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it's not insanely crowded like it is at the end of March.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Okay, well, today's topic, it's a little dark. If you haven't seen the title, we are going to be covering black companies or burakku kigyo here in Japan. But before we get into that, do you have anything exciting you wanted to share or any life updates?
Kind of. So speaking of snow and that kind of stuff, earlier this month, I stayed in Hakuba in Nagano. And I know that it's very popular for snowboarding and skiing, and a lot of international visitors go there.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised visiting, like just how international it is.
Yes.
So we booked a hotel for one night, and we had trouble finding the parking lot. So we called to ask, like, are we in the right place? Where is it? And Takashi doesn't mind phone calls as much as I do. So he was the one who called. And the girl, well, I think she was Australian, but she answered in English.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
International. But then he was like, can I speak Japanese? And she was like,
no.
English. He was like, Nihongo?
Yeah.
English. Like, okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then, so while we were there, this place was pretty nice. They had a public bath there with an outdoor bath. It was very nice. But during my bathing experience, there was another foreign lady in there. And I think you have seen this before too. But she went straight to the bath without showering. And it's really awkward. We're the only two in there and we're both naked.
And you can't like say anything to her, right? Or,
yeah. Because I was in the middle of showering when she walked in.
Oh, okay. Oh, and then you had to like go in after all clean. Oh no. I've seen a lady do that too, at a different like public bath. And yeah, it's always, I don't know, it's just awkward to like, do you want to say something? Because you want people to use it properly and to know for future, like maybe she'll go to another onsen, right? And I mean, but it's also like, is it my place to say anything? I don't know. Yeah.
I wonder, maybe I can leave a review for the place and just say maybe there should be a sign in the bath that says to shower first.
Yeah.
Because there was no sign about that. It just said, keep the door closed because there's sometimes wild monkeys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's important to know. Yeah, I think that would be good. And there's a lot of like rules regarding onsen and hot spring that, you just wouldn't know unless you're very familiar with like bathing in Japan. Because one thing I didn't know for a long time is that you technically shouldn't put your hair in the water. Like you should keep your hair up and then just not, submerge your head under the bath water. So
it's not really good for your hair either.
In general, I mean, because it's the hot spring, I mean, the water is like stronger and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, there's been a couple of times when I was like a novice to onsen where I would just, because it feels so good. I want to just lay in it and go underwater, which also probably can't be that good for you because it's so hot.
It's really hot.
It's kind of like
boiling your brain.
Yeah. Just boil it all out. But yeah, so I'm not saying I'm perfect and know everything about onsen. Like I've made mistakes too. So it would, I guess having a sign be helpful, especially considering a place where there's so many foreign visitors. Like, they should know about that, I think.
Yeah. And then one more thing about that place. So they had a buffet style breakfast in the morning and it was a lot of Western style stuff, eggs, bacon, breads and that kind of stuff. And Takashi was like, where's the rice? Like, Do they have any rice here?
Yeah, so Japanese. That's funny. That reminds me of...
I felt like I was not in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. I think when you texted me, you were like in Hakuba. I was like, hey, how's it feel like not being like the least Japanese place in all of Japan, kind of? And like, there's been a couple of, not news, but like variety shows have kind of highlighted Hakuba too recently because it just feels like the least Japanese place about Japan. Super good skiing and snowboarding, though. I really like it.
The powder snow is
it's really nice. But a lot of people I met...
good at snowboarding, but...
You did good.
If I
watched
could,
your
it would be
video.
amazing.
You did great. But when I went up there, a lot of the people I met up there who were working there, I think they do a really good working holiday program or something. Because all Aussies, like everyone working in every facility I met was Australian who were just, here for the snowboarding season and stuff. So makes sense to me. Yeah.
I was surprised because I didn't know it was possible to work at a hotel here without having any Japanese level at all.
I mean, I guess if a place like that, right? Yeah.
But there were not many Japanese guests, I guess.
Yeah, the no rice thing that reminded me of, my husband just went on a business trip to Spain as well. And so, like, obviously he's going to eat the cuisine that is local to Spain and Barcelona and all that. And when he came back, the first thing he did when he kind of like put his stuff down, he drank miso soup and like a bowl of rice. He was just like, I needed this. I think he was gone for like 10 days. So for him, he was just really craving that rice. So yeah. When
I was in Turkey, because it was a trip of Japanese influencers that I randomly got invited on, but a lot of them were like, ramen tabetai na. I want ramen. I want rice.
Yeah, not so much ramen for me. I do get the rice thing. And that's not me being like a pick me like, Japanese rice is the best. Like from howaito, we eat rice 3 times a day as well. So like I can't eat anything personally without rice either. So I totally feel like where they're coming from. Yeah. But
okay, what's going on with you?
Me, other than my husband coming back from his business trip, we're getting ready for our big move. So if you've been keeping up with some episodes, I will be moving to Shikoku at the end of this month, or end of March, actually. So
when this gets uploaded,
end of the month. Maybe I'll be there already, but I know it's so weird to think about. But I'm going on a trip up there as a family tomorrow for a few days just to go scout some places, go look at the area and see maybe like where we're gonna move, because I've never been there before, so it's so hard to choose a place like that you're gonna live without ever seeing it, obviously.
That's true, yeah.
So we're gonna like go and actually view some of these places, and then just say my husband never lived there, so he wants to also just pick a good place that makes sense to live, that's very like livable and good area for us,
near a station,
so we're gonna go do that, and that's very exciting.
You gotta eat Tokushima ramen.
I know, I heard it's really good. What is different about it that's like, Tokushima ramen?
I think there might be beef in it, but also the broth is like a dark brown, so it might be soy sauce.
Ooh, I
like more
that.
heavily soy sauce based.
Okay. Are you like a Tokushima ramen person, or do you like Hakata, like Fukuoka style ramen? I know everyone's
love Hokkaido, like Sapporo style.
Oh yeah,
the spicy miso, kara miso ramen.
Oh yes,
with butter and corn topping.
Yeah. I love Hokkaido ramen. That's so true. I've never even been to Hokkaido, but I've had it before in Tokyo. Super good.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, those are kind of our updates for today.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get into our depressing topic?
Yeah. Do you have a disclaimer for this one?
I thought I was going to have one. And then as I was doing this topic, I think we can all agree that working for an exploitative company is bad in any sense. Anywhere in the world. I don't think people are going to be in our comments like, but companies in doko are so much worse. Like
this time, no.
Probably. Yeah, right. I think especially because we're going to cover a YouTube video I'm going to bring up about kind of like a day in the life of a salaryman who works for a Black company. And I read through those comments and I was surprised to find no one was like in defense of working culture in Japan either.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree this is like not a good thing. So my disclaimer just kind of got like forgotten about. Yeah. I don't have one.
There's always someone that's going to argue it, but I think it's pretty well known around the world how intense the work culture can be here. Very long hours.
Especially, these days. But for a long time, it's nothing new. When I was doing some research about it and just like wanting to find personal stories on like Reddit, for example, there was some post kind of asking what a burakku kigyo, like black company was. And that post was from like 11 years ago. So again, not like a super recent thing, but I think more familiar now these days with social media and YouTube and all of that. I will get into the definitions a little bit later, but some words you're going to hear a lot today are howaito kigyo, which means
a white company.
Okay. And burakku kigyo,
a black company.
And karoshi.
Death by overwork.
Okay. And we've talked about death by overwork very briefly, I think, in past episodes before. All right. But first, let's get into it. The structure of today's episode, I just wanted to cover what a black company is. And we're going to go over that, how to spot one, some statistics and news in reference to some unfortunate incidents that happened due to working at a black company. And then we're going to go over the top ranked black companies in Japan.
Then we'll get into some personal stories from Reddit about black companies. And also, do white companies exist? What are they?
Yeah.
And then the top ranked white companies in Japan.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a word
I
like
haven't
white
heard
company.
that term before.
Yeah, I wonder if that one is pretty recent because it only came up when I was researching this topic. But all right, let's get into it. So, what is a burakku kigyo?
Okay, so a black company, also referred to in English as a black corporation or a black business, is a Japanese term for a company that is exploitative or abusive towards its workers.
Yes.
So, not the color of people's skin.
Oh, yes. One thing I think we should clarify.
We're not talking about black-owned businesses.
No, not at all. Please do not get that confused at all. Yeah. Okay. So there's some ways you can spot if you're working for a black company. For example, overtime or extra hours without pay. I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. When we did an episode with our friend Ami, and she was talking about the insane amount of overtime she does. And her company had asked her to stop logging it because it was over the legal limit.
Yep. And that is burakku kigyo, I think. Yeah, we can say.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. There's also arriving early and staying way too late.
Yeah. Have you known anyone to do this before? Like, do you know what that means, I guess, in this sense?
Maybe I've heard about it, but nobody that I'm super close with, so I can't really explain it.
Yeah, like I've seen a parody or, a girl kind of like, what do you call it? Yeah, like making a TikTok, a funny video about it. She's like role playing like the situation. So for example, in this black kigyo context, let's say your workday, like contractually, is officially 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or something. And then you show up to work at 8:50 because, that's like when you start the workday or whatever. But then your company will like pressure you or give you a lecture like, you're late. Why are you coming like 10 minutes before the workday? Because they expect you to come maybe at 8 a.m. because it's called a chorei, like a morning meeting. And that's very common in Japan to have this meeting before the official workday to talk about, like what you are going to cover in the day or like everyone's goal or what's happening for the workday. And I'm sure it does happen at the actual like working time for many companies, but I feel like in burakku kigyo, this kind of happens in like schools a lot too, even though you don't start school at like till 8 a.m. A lot of the teachers were there at like 7 a.m., for example, like an hour or 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes beforehand because they had to do this morning meeting. So that's like what they mean by arriving early. And then obviously staying way too late is doing the overtime and all that zangyo. Next one is no work-life balance. So we'll link the website in the notes, but someone gave an example of having no work-life balance. You want to read that real quick?
Yes. So even on days off, you're expected to be available or check in. This isn't just overworking an employee, it's manipulation and emotional control. Workers are made to feel guilty for taking the rest they've legally earned. Foreign employees unfamiliar with labor rights or worried about visa status often find it hard to push back. Without boundaries, the result is burnout, resentment, and a complete erosion of personal life. That's why lack of work-life balance is one of the clearest signs of a black company.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of like typical like salarymen here in Japan really don't have work-life balance at all. Yeah. The next sign to look out for is high turnover rate. Yeah. I didn't know that one.
Also, verbal abuse and harassment.
I think a more obvious one.
Yeah.
This next one is unclear job descriptions. So yeah, if you're kind of like looking for a job out there and you just still have no idea what the role is when you're applying, maybe be on alert. Yeah.
Okay. We also have illegal contracts and forced clauses.
Another one is no social insurance provided. So this website quoted an ALT or a former ALT assistant language teacher here in Japan, and they said, I worked 5 days a week, 8 hours a day for years. When I asked about health insurance, they said I didn't qualify. Later, I found out they were supposed to enroll me the whole time. Yeah. So please be on the lookout for that. I heard, especially obviously for Black kigyo, it's really common for companies, even though they are legally required to enroll you, they just won't. So please check up on that if you feel like, you don't have health insurance. Yeah. I will make a note though. Yes?
Well, I have also heard about some teaching companies. I'm sure other types of offices might do this too, but they keep you at like under the hours. The hours that you would be required to become a full-time employee. So you can stay in that like freelancer status and they don't have to provide you with insurance and that kind of stuff.
I think that's why for this person, because they were working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, they were like, hello?
But it wasn't the teaching hours or something?
Yeah, something. I do want to kind of just clarify a little bit though. This is for if you're working under an employment contract or if you are an employee of a company. So like Frankie said, if you are just under a freelance or business contract, you do apply like for national health insurance on your own. So just if the wording is tricky, like just because you have a job in Japan doesn't like entitle you to the social insurances.
Doesn't mean you are like a full-time employee of the company.
Just wanted to clarify that. Okay, next one.
Okay. Promised benefits are not received.
So maybe things like bonuses is what they're referring to. This one is very Japanese, the you should be grateful culture. So kind of like a lot of people defend Black kigyo with like, this is just the Japanese way. Like, yeah, big one. And lastly?
Yeah, something that was not mentioned in the article, but we're talking about is if the salaries are low, less than or around 2 to 3 million yen per year.
Yeah, that was just
What is that monthly? Like 180,000 a month or something?
Or less, yeah. Because like a lot of like teaching positions and eikaiwa in general in Japan, you'll see the minimum usually is like 18man, like 180,000. And then they range to, like 200,000 or 250 in like a good, end. But for a Black kigyo, it's kind of like anything less than that as a full-time employee. If you're working part-time, obviously it's different. But this was just me doing a quick Google search, like how low is a low salary in Japan?
Yeah. I have heard that starting salaries for, even for Japanese employees working for a company is really abysmally low.
Yeah. And I didn't know that because if you are familiar with like JET program salaries, I know salaries in Japan just haven't changed and like risen that much in like decades. But for example, JET program, at least, almost 10 years ago, it raises per each year. So starting, you get, let's say, 250 in your first year, and then it goes up to like 260, 70, and then by like your fourth and fifth years, if you stayed on that long, you can make up to 320 or like 330, which is like, I think these days normal because we're going through like inflation, right? So it's like a high salary, but it can still be hard to live depending what area you live in. But I remember mentioning those numbers to, at the time, my boyfriend when he was like, job hunting and like he said a lot of companies their first year salary for like Japanese employees was like significantly lower than that. So I was just like, dang. So for anyone who didn't know, JET pays like really well in Japan in terms of English teaching jobs. It's going to be really hard if you've had that JET salary for so long and then you're like searching for other jobs here in Japan, especially if you're like staying in the English teaching industry. Just heads up, I don't think it's going to be any higher than that as of right now. Yeah. Salaries are a little right now.
With JET, because you get capped how many years you can work there. Yeah. And I think maybe some other companies too, there's a cap of how much you can make. And then if you try to, because in the US, for example, if you want a higher salary, you would go for a different company. But here it's kind of like if you're starting at a new company, you often have to go back to the bottom and work your way up again.
Yeah, exactly. So And the thing with like Jet 2 and most ALT positions here in Japan is like because maybe you're capped, like sure you get a higher salary than most first starting employees here in Japan, but you also don't receive like bonus or anything like that. So just things to consider if you're searching for a job here. All right. But that is how to search or to spot
some red flags.
Yeah, so that's how to search some red flags here at companies in Japan. But I just wanted to go over some like incidents that happened here in Japan regarding Black companies.
Okay.
So we're going to read an article really quick. This one is posted by nippon.com titled Black Corporations Still Common in Japan. This is a couple years old though.
All right. Despite the rapid rise in awareness of issues related to workplace reforms and corporate compliance, many burakku kigyo, literally black corporations, still remain in Japan that force their employees to work long hours and set excessive quotas for them to fulfill.
A nationwide survey of company employees aged from 20 to 59 conducted by Shikigaku, a Tokyo-based management consulting services company, found that 38.6% of the respondents say they have worked for or are currently employed by a Black corporation.
That's a lot.
Yes.
When asked whether they would follow instructions from their companies to engage in dishonest or illegal activities, 6.1% said they would, while 50.2% said they might if they had no other choice. This result shows that some employees are complicit in the unsavory activities of Black corporations, even if they are not proactive participants.
Among those who have worked for a Black corporation, 79% said they did not ask the company for advice concerning dishonest or illegal acts, which suggests that employees are resigned to the fact that such discussions are pointless. Yeah. The Japanese way.
The survey asked those with experience working for a Black corporation what aspects of the job made them realize their company fell under this category. The most cited reason was the high turnover rate, mentioned by 44%, followed by long working hours, 39.7%, and unpaid overtime, 38%, reflecting the importance of issues related to the time spent on the job. Respondents noted some of the illegal practices they witnessed, including companies that nominally complied with labor laws by categorizing half of overtime as taking a break, or cases where employees worked around 100 hours of overtime per month but were not paid in full because management said it was too much.
Yeah. Crazy. We'll link this in the notes, but if you want to take a look at the graph and the charts on this website, you can. But yeah, a lot of red flags here.
Yeah. A lot of the red flags, because they make a graph of like that. It's the stuff we just mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Earlier.
That, especially that high turnover rate, right? It was like, oh, it's kind of the more obvious ones, I guess.
That's one you wouldn't really think of because you hear so much about Japan, people working at companies for life.
Right.
And they really value loyalty.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like,
I guess that would be a really big red flag then.
People leaving that much? Yeah, exactly. Oh, alrighty.
Okay.
Well, another thing I wanted to bring up just, regarding some incidents. Are you familiar with the company Dentsu?
I have heard of them in regards to this.
To this, right?
So trigger warning for suicide.
Okay. Same. I also didn't know what this company was until is it an advertising company? After. Yeah, it is an advertising company, but
it says it in the title.
Yeah, they're kind of infamous for this incident we're about to get into. Okay. But the title of the article by the BBC is Japan's Dentsu Advertising Agency Charged Over Employee Suicide.
Okay. One of Japan's leading advertising agencies has been charged over the death of an employee from overwork.
Dentsu is accused of violating labor standards after Matsuri Takahashi, 24, killed herself in 2015.
Her friend said Ms. Takahashi, who had been at the firm for less than a year, claimed to be so busy she slept just 10 hours a week. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's really intense. Death from overwork is relatively common in Japan, where it has its own word, karoshi.
Ms. Takahashi is reported to have worked 100 hours of overtime a month for some time before her death.
She died on Christmas Day in 2015. According to reports, a note left behind for her mother included the line, "Why do things have to be so hard?" Oh my God, I might tear up. Okay.
The Asahi Shimbun newspaper said the company was being charged over illegal overtime and the prosecutors were seeking a fine.
So this was, I don't want to say famous, infamous, like very, very well-known case in Japan because of this. Again, Dentsu got a lot of, not discrimination, criticism, obviously, but like, I think maybe it's subsiding because after this incident, it sounds like Dentsu took a lot of like not precautions, but they tried to really make their work-life balance better. For example, I read which is like still so late, by the way, like 10 p.m. they shut all the lights off in the building. So it's like, okay, go home. Like, please don't stay here, but it's like 10 p.m. Why not make it like 7 p.m. at the latest or something? 6 maybe, so they're at least around this time, which it happened in 2015, right? Known for all the wrong reasons, I would say. But that's how I kind of like knew about this company. But actually, the first time I ever heard about this company was over 7 years ago when my husband and I were first dating. We actually dated around the time he was graduating from college and like looking for jobs. And so he's doing it's called like shūshoku katsudō, shūkatsu, like looking for jobs in Japan. Yeah. And he called me one day because he got good news. He was like, I passed one of my interviews for one of my companies. And I was like, great. Like, what's the job? What's the company? And he said densu. And I think if you're familiar in Japan, like it's I can't say good or bad. I've never worked there, but like if you know this incident, it's like, whoa, densu, but also densu, it's like really good salary also. Like,
was this incident before or after his interview?
Oh, good point. Before. So we met this interview. He knew about it. Okay. So this was in 2019. Okay. When he did the interview and got the job. And like we mentioned, the incident was back in 2015. So when he told me, well, my first reaction, because I was newer to Japan, was, what's densu? That's when he kind of had to explain it to me. So I think obviously people are working such long hours, but it kind of sounds like one of those companies where it's really hard to obtain and like, yeah, you're making a lot of money, it sounds like, but at what cost? Especially like at this time of the incident,
with all that unpaid overtime and stuff.
And it sounds like, it must have been appealing at some point. Why would he apply? You know what I mean? It's not like everyone just dropped this company and doesn't want to work there. It's still around, this company, But I remember just learning about this incident from him almost working there. And I'm like, dang, So sometimes I think about, because in the end, he was kind of conflicted of choosing that company or another company he currently works for. And yeah, I just think sometimes like, whoa, where would our life be if he was working there? Like, would I ever see him? Like, would we have dated for this long, or would he just be like working these crazy long hours, So very just, I don't know, interesting to think about when I saw it.
Yeah. That article also says that about the turning off the lights at 10 p.m. Like, apparently they do that now. And the chief executive at the time resigned.
Yes, that's right.
But I wonder if it actually has gotten better there. Or...
I don't know. We'll see. Oh, yes. Sorry. I missed the whole second half of the article. Yeah, but I
don't think we need to read all that.
Yeah, it was high profile, like I mentioned. And so obviously, not just Dentsu, but a lot of like well-known Black companies in Japan are trying to change their system and get rid of or lessen their unpaid overtime and everything like that. But unfortunately, the number is like still very high of karoshi cases each year, which I'll get into kind of towards the end of the episode. But yeah, it's intense.
I think for karoshi, I don't know if you're going to talk about this later, like what counts as karoshi. Okay.
Yeah, would you like to go into it now?
Because I think a lot of people's image of death by overwork is that you're just at your desk working hard and
you
just
have
collapse.
Like an aneurysm or something?
Yeah, heart attack or an aneurysm. And that could be part of it. Like you're just so exhausted but like taking your own life is also karoshi.
I see. Yeah, that was kind of the impression I had. But thank you for clearing that up. I didn't really think about that. Okay. So yeah, those were some unfortunate incidents. But kind of in my research about just like, obviously, I can't be like undercover boss and like go into a Black company and see like what a day is like in there. But I did find an interesting video on YouTube. His username was Tokyo Salaryman, and he just did a day in the life as someone who, works in Tokyo at a black company. We'll link it there. We don't have to watch it right now. But it was a long day. He woke up at like 7 a.m. or something, and his day wasn't done. Like, he wasn't in bed until 1 a.m. or something. And so just because you have to factor in things like commute as well. I think he had like
His
an hour and a
commute is long,
half
like
or something.
At least an hour.
Yeah.
commute.
And so if you're working, one, at a place that isn't so close to where you live, and you also work like overtime, it's just, to do that for years and years is insane. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know some companies have dorms, but I feel like for the people who live in the dorms, there's even more pressure to do overtime because they're like,
you're right there.
Here. Why can't you do it?
Exactly. So I understand if people don't want to live in there, but just that day was, I don't know. It's the video itself is only like 8 minutes, I think, but it's like so long. It just felt so long.
Quite depressing.
Yeah, it's very depressing. And he does mention a couple of points in there regarding like black companies. Did you want to talk about those?
Yeah. So as I was watching it, I just made some notes. One, when he was getting on the train, he said, why does everyone have to go to work at the same time?
Yeah.
I think that is an excellent question because Tokyo rush hour is miserable.
Insane. I think they tried to change it a little bit during COVID. I think there was like maybe something like because companies, they didn't want to do like full like telework kind of things. And so some companies were trying to do like, okay, you start like 8 o'clock and then you go to like 5 p.m. or whatever. And then like you start like 10 to whatever. I think they were trying to like zurasu, like shift it out a little bit, but it sounds like it didn't do anything. You know, there's still so many people.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, starting at 9 is pretty common around the world, but why do we need to start at that time?
Why do we need to start? I'm my most productive at like 10 p.m. Like
Same.
that like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. window, I'm like, and I'm like doing my notes. Yeah. Exactly.
If you ask me to do something at 9 a.m.
I'm not doing anything. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. He also said companies love fresh graduates because they're less resistant to harsh working conditions. And my note is that they also may not know the labor laws.
Very true. Yeah. Sad to think about.
But that also kind of reminded me of my time in New York. The company that I was working for, it was the type of company that's like, your family here. You wear many hats.
Oh, sounds like a cult. Okay.
Yeah. So because I did so many things like admin stuff, so accounting, HR, personal assistance, and I was also part of the hiring process. And I remember the bosses saying that they really loved people who had no work experience, like at offices and had retail jobs because they can take shit.
Yeah. You know what I wish I had right now that I should have prepared for the episode is a little red flag. I think they do it on Two Hot Takes now, but it's like a teeny little red flag. So if you hear things that are like questionable behavior, I just want to like, so if you see me swinging my hand for anyone watching, it's my little invisible red flag. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of shady. Okay.
He also said some black companies publicly shame employees who want to quit using tactics like group pressure or calling them traitors. No.
Yeah.
Get out of there. And yeah, I just also wanted to note working long hours doesn't equal productivity.
Not at all. Especially as someone who's like worked in the
for
public school
productivity.
system, in office, and in a government office. They're not doing anything. Let's be honest. They're there for so long, just like staring at their computer. Not all, again, allegedly, in my opinion, whatever, all that. Like, so many of them are just kind of like, yeah, they're like doing work to an extent, but also I feel like everyone's just kind of like looking around waiting for someone else to go home first so they can follow suit. I unfortunately started to catch myself doing that when I was working in like a government office. Because I was only contractually supposed to be there till like 5. And yeah, most days I left at like 5:05. You know, once it hits 5 o'clock, I'm like putting my stuff away. But like some days I could just like, no one is moving after 5 p.m. And I'll just like linger there until like 5:30 or something some days. And it's just like, what are you doing? Because some days I was done with all of my work for the day by like 1, you know? And there's no reason, I guess depending on your job, to stay for that long. But yeah, like you said, it doesn't mean you're being productive.
Yeah. Don't they also say that if you nap at work,
you're like
a great employee?
Because it's
you're
like,
working
oh,
so
look at
hard.
you, you're working so hard. Yeah, you're so tired, devoting yourself. Yeah. I really can't get behind, like, gaman is the word to mean like endure in Japanese. And a lot of people in Japan just feel the need to like gaman through everything, which is like, yeah, I don't know. It's really depressing sometimes.
Oh, gaman reminded me of something.
Okay.
This girl that I was friends with in Tokyo, she was dating someone at the time. And when they broke up, he was like trying to say that like he tried his best to stay in the relationship. And he was like, gaman shita kedo.
Oh.
And she was like, oh my God, I don't want you to be with me because you feel obligated.
Yeah, oh no. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it has a translation like endure. You know what we mean by the word
Put
endure
up with,
something,
yeah.
but like the context, like the nuance behind it, yeah, it's just very like, so yeah, I can only say it in Japanese sometimes. Like it is gama.
Well, I'm gaman shiteru right now because I have to pee, but
you can go pee. And you're like, I'm gaman shiteru right now doing this podcast.
This podcast is a black
talking
company.
to you. Yeah, I know. We'll get through it. Okay, I won't keep you here for too long. We are back.
We're back.
You did not gaman through that pee break or having to pee.
We gotta let each other use the restroom.
Yes.
No need to endure that.
But it's not the Japanese way.
I know.
Our podcast studio is just
I'll
the black
never be
kigyo.
Japanese.
Oh no, how dare you pee. Okay. But what were we talking about before then? Just overall, yeah, gaman, enduring things in Japanese work culture and all that, right?
Yeah.
But I got like some breaking news.
Oh.
So during this pee break, I was just kind of, fiddling around my phone, and I get updates from Reddit a lot. And I know we were just talking about the JET program and like, yeah, the salary is pretty high compared to, other teaching companies. And you get a pay raise every year, right? We had this discussion. Apparently. And I just got a notification from Reddit in r/JET program.
Oh.
It says, so I've been going through my important papers to prepare for moving out this summer, and I think I discovered that my BOE did not increase my pay for this all jet pay increase that happened last April. I've been fighting with them for several months about all sorts of things not happening, and I've been struggling to manage it all. So this one just managed to fall through the cracks. How SOL am I now that I'm realizing 11 months later it was supposed to happen? I'm not going to get into the comments or anything. Just the timing of it was so insane how we were talking about like, yeah, black companies and low pay and like maybe not giving you your benefits or whatever. And this story to come up. So I really hope it works out for that person. They go to a labor bureau or something, but crazy.
Well, they could retroactively get the money back.
I hope so. And like this kind of goes to show too that I think the JET program, it has its pros and cons, like all companies here in Japan, but like to say that it's not perfect either. So if you are someone on JET or in like some kind of ALT program here in Japan too, I guess double check if you're getting paid.
If you're getting that raise.
Yeah, if you're getting that raise or if you're getting paid properly, because this person apparently was not the last year, basically. Yeah. So that really sucks for them.
Oh, can I talk about when I reported a company to the Labor Standards Office?
Of course.
Well, I have talked about this in maybe a Work Stories episode, but it is relevant to this because I would say that's a black company too. But yeah, we didn't get a lunch break. We had to work through the break.
Gnarly.
And yeah. I mean, we had our monthly salary, but like we didn't have a lunch break where we had an hour where we were not watching children.
So you just didn't get a break at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So I reported them after I left the company and they did an investigation and I found out later because I made a TikTok video about it a few years later, and somebody messaged me privately and they're like, I think I know what school you're talking about. I work there now and we do get lunch breaks now.
Okay, well, good there. Look what you did. Not all heroes wear capes. Yay. Yeah. I'm glad. So
it's worth pursuing.
Exactly. Yeah. Like some things, especially when if you're working in Japan and you're not Japanese, as a foreigner, we can feel very, I don't know, scary sometimes to really speak up or advocate your stuff. You do feel powerless in a lot of situations, but, hopefully things do get pursued and there are positive outcomes when you do speak up, for such things. So I'm glad that worked out for future employees at that school. Yeah.
I mean, the boss is probably not a better person, but at least they get breaks.
At least something a little bit changed. Okay. So we've done all of this talk about, like what a black company is, how to spot it, but what are some of the black companies in Japan besides Dentsu, And so I did a little search, and we'll just summarize like this one article or read a little short snippet of it.
The title though. Mitsubishi Electric wins Black Company Award for second consecutive year, examining the pattern of cover-ups behind repeated karoshi death. Okay. But that is not an award you want to win.
No. And
the best at being the worst.
I'll get into that award system in a second, but the fact that like a yearly award comes out is crazy.
That is,
Okay. So several years have passed since the enactment of the Act on Promotion of Measures to Prevent Deaths from Overwork, etc., which mandated measures to prevent death from overwork after Black companies became a social issue. Yet, news of death from overwork continued unabated in 2019. Deaths from overwork at Toyota Motor Corporation and Yamato Transport were revealed. And furthermore, the persistent prevalence of illegal excessive overtime at Dentsu drew significant attention.
Among these, the karoshi case at major electrics manufacturer Mitsubishi Electric received significant coverage. A male new employee in his 20s took his own life in August 2019, citing power harassment from his supervisor, including remarks like, Jesus Christ, there's a window perfect for you to jump out of. Maybe you should just die and go kill yourself.
Yeah. Insane. Like, considering that, I know the Dentsu incident wasn't the first, incident ever where someone took their own life from overwork and pressure and things like that. But the fact that that case got such, big news, and then this stuff is still happening like a few years later at different companies, mind you, but still crazy, It's really, really sad to see. And like Frankie said in the title, it was Mitsubishi won the Black Company Award for the second consecutive year. So I had a question, like, what is this award? Like, I was like, what is this award? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's like something that companies can get nominated for. And mind you, it's not like them putting their own name in, right? Like, no one wants to be named the Black Company of the Year. But this award, it's called the burakku kigyo taisho list. And I was like, who makes this? Because what is this? And it's just a list composed of Black companies ranked by like lawyers and reporters and journalists. So I think like based on, the amount of incidents they've had per year, or maybe the number of karoshi or just overall complaints and posts from like SNS about people who've worked at these companies, they just compile a list every year about, the top ranked Black companies in Japan. Although I didn't see, so that like specific award, like the Black Company Taisho, I haven't seen anything past 2019. So I wonder if COVID kind of just like affected those numbers and it wasn't a thing anymore. But 2019, Mitsubishi was like the top one, and Yamato, it said, so. Yeah.
Do you remember, I don't know if it was last summer or the summer before, we found a news article about the conditions in the warehouses at Yamato Transport. And it was like over 40 degrees in the warehouse. And instead of giving the employees what they were requesting, like those vests, like the air conditioned vests or turning on the aircon or something, they just took away the thermometers.
Well, if you don't see it, it's not real.
It's not 40 degrees if you can't see the thermometer.
That's crazy. That's so messed up. Okay. But moving on to, I did want to see like what the rankings of other company wears like pretty recently, So this is a list compiled from 2025, not the same as that like Black Company nomination list that I just mentioned, just a different one. But this is from an article that's titled Ranking of Worst Companies with High Employee Dissatisfaction Posts. So like on social media. So would you like to start?
Okay. Diamond Editorial Department compiled a ranking of companies receiving the most negative reviews based on data from Alarmbox, based in Shinjuku, Tokyo, a venture company providing credit management services to businesses.
The period covered 1 year from January to December 2025. During this time, work-related reviews were posted for 2,406 out of the 14,477 surveyed companies. The total number of negative posts regarding work practices was over 9,000, averaging about 4 posts per company. However, the companies ranking high in the list garnered far more negative posts than the average.
So is Alarmbox like the Glassdoor of Japan?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. The top rankings included major companies from various industries such as finance, real estate, telecommunication, and information services, railways, automobiles, electronics, retail, and food.
So I have just like a picture of this list because I wanted the top 5 at least. And so
based on the number of bad reviews they got.
Yeah. So the number 1 is Nissan.
Oh,
and they
Nissan
got
Motors,
Nissan Motors, and they got 86 bad reviews. Yeah.
Okay.
Second one is Transcosmos. Have you ever heard of this company before?
No.
I wasn't familiar, so it's just like a Japanese outsourcing provider. And
Brexa Technology?
Yeah, Brexa, again, another one I wasn't really sure. Surprised to see number 4 was Japan
JP
Post. Yeah. Like the post office. Yeah. And then number 5 is Next Stage. So I think they work in like digital transformation or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Nissan Motors was the worst.
Yeah, interesting. But okay, let's move on. We're almost done talking about Black companies, but I found a couple things I was interested in on Reddit, and I'll have you just listen to this post, and you, the audience, the listeners and watchers as well, please listen to me read this Reddit post, and you can decide, pop quiz, based on all the information we've given you.
Yeah.
The question is, am I working for a Black company? Okay. Posted in r/Japan Life from 7 months ago. I just discovered the joys of kotei zangyo teate. So fixed overtime allowance, FOA. Okay. After working 20 hours overtime and seeing nothing in my monthly paycheck. Oh. I had seen that in my contract when I signed, but it didn't dawn on me how it actually worked until now because I usually never work overtime. FOA is when a company assumes the employee will work a certain number of overtime hours, example 20 hours per month, and pays for those hours in advance as a fixed amount. I have read that companies here use FOA because it, 1, simplifies payroll processing, and 2, makes company salaries appear higher. I believe my company uses FOA for the second reason because my company does a couple of other things that seem shady. For one thing, we only get one bonus a year in April, and it's only 15,000, so 150,000 after taxes, and are taken out. My salary, including FOA, is about 600,000, so 600,000 yen. After
6 million yen.
Or 6 million yen, sorry. Yes, sorry. Thank you. Big typo.
That's like $60,000-ish dollars
a year?
Well, probably less with today's conversion.
Okay. For another thing, instead of paying on the 25th of the month, like most companies, it pays on the last day of the month. Why? I believe it is so the company can earn 5 to 6 days more of interest before the funds are paid from its account. Am I overthinking this? Might I be working for a so-called Black company? Or is it just cheap? Okay.
Is it just cheap?
Yeah, so...
Cheapskates run Black companies.
Your thoughts? Quiz.
Oh.
Yes or no? Are they working for a Black company?
3, 2,
1.
Yes.
You say yes.
Yeah. You don't think so?
At first, I said yes, and then I was reading through the comments.
Okay.
And I shifted my opinion.
Oh, okay. Let's see if they can convince me.
Yeah. So, top comment. To me, a Black company is one that makes you do things outside of the scope of your contract, asks you to do things like falsify hours, etc. If it's all within the scope of what you agreed to, then I think it's pretty normal. Second comment, you don't work for a Black company. A Black company doesn't pay 6 million yen a year. You are not harassed to work on weekends. Your life is not micromanaged by your boss. You have your passport in your possession. You have all your own living space. That's what a Black company does. Your work is just a high intensity, high pay job.
I don't agree with that because apparently Densetsu's salaries were good too. Just because you have a decent salary.
Densu, not Densetsu. Densu. Yeah. Someone just said, I stopped reading at 6 million yen. I think, who knows? This is my opinion. At first, I was a strong yes. And then I read through the comments of just saying, like, acknowledging, like, well, you've only worked overtime kind of like this one time. You said you don't do it usually, or like you didn't do it up until this point. Kotei zangyo teate, it is a thing. That's not illegal. That's like really common in Japan actually too. And so it does get shady if you are working, in this case, more than 20 hours of overtime, and then you're like not paid for those, or you're asked to like falsify that, like, sure. But they didn't give me enough information where they're saying like they're getting harassed, I'm getting like email, you know what I mean? Yeah. It just sounds like a high demanding job. And like, yeah, black, you can have a high salary and still work at a Black company, but it sounds like he's still getting paid like, it's not like he's being withheld his promise bonus. I don't know, kind of hard to judge. I went from yes to, I don't know, actually.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Now you have me questioning.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I
So-
guess it depends how they're treated.
Right,
at
like
their
they,
job.
but they didn't like give any information about that. But the comments, the overall consensus was no. Maybe it's like high intensity, but it's not black because I think again the OP didn't say anything like, and I'm getting a lot of pressure and I'm very depressed and I feel like I'm about to, do
Yeah.
something intense. So,
Okay.
but food for thought. Yeah, it was just an interesting quiz moment I wanted to give.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone just short and sweet. Definitely overthinking. 20 hours of overtime may be uncomfortable, but it's not nearly life-threatening. Black companies will actually drain your health and sanity.
That's true.
Yeah.
20 hours per month. So that's
That's like 1 hour a day.
Yeah, one extra hour a day.
Yeah.
okay, fine. Maybe no. Do I want to work for that company? No.
No.
But
Yeah. I like I stopped reading. Because, yeah, if you're a
that is
foreigner,
a good salary.
it's a good salary, especially if you're just working in like education here in Japan or like typical eikaiwa. Like I saw this 600 too and was like, no, I don't know. Like, it doesn't sound like the worst, But
they didn't say the industry.
Yeah, that's true. Again, they didn't give enough details. So like depending on how you look at it, yeah, it could be black, but maybe not so much in this case. I don't know. That was your pop quiz for today.
Okay.
The second Reddit story I found posted 23 days ago, they just ask, is JR East a black company? Thoughts?
Okay.
Would you like
Shall
to
I?
read that one? Yes.
I am an engineer here in Japan and have always been looking for opportunities to enter the train industry. So I thought, what a better way to start but to get a job at one of the biggest rail companies in Japan, JR East. However, apparently after a few searches, JR East is a black company? Anyone working at JR East care to share their experience? I love trains, but I love my well-being more, so I would not trade it for anything. So, any insights would be much appreciated.
And yeah, I just found one. They said, big well-known company doesn't mean they are a good company. So,
Exactly.
yeah. Amazon and Yamato is the perfect example here in Japan. Yeah. I've never worked at JR East myself, but I have heard stories that their JR group is pretty traditional. I've worked for a traditional Japanese company before. Honestly, in my opinion, they're all pitch black. Modern Japanese companies are hit or miss. It's pretty normal. Yeah. And then people are just going off on Amazon being pitch black all around the globe, which, yeah I agree with. Yeah. I haven't heard, the best stories about JR. Allegedly, in my opinion.
I feel like it would be a hard job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know about in the office or whatever, but if you're a train driver, for example, you probably see some terrible things.
That's true. Yeah.
On the track.
Yeah. I don't know. But I just stumbled upon that and I kind of want to leave that one open to the listeners and viewers because there wasn't any like confirmed yes or no in this Reddit based on any data. So if anyone has any info or like has worked for a rail company in Japan, I'm just very curious. Yeah.
I don't have any people that I'm close to that work for JR or any other train companies. As a content creator, I have partnered with rail companies before, but that doesn't really give you an idea of what it's like to work for them full time. I just saw them for like a few days while we're shooting.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, that was depressing. Are you ready to move
Be
on
positive?
to the next part of the topic? So this one will be much shorter, but again, in my research about black companies, I stumbled across the word white company, which I didn't know was a thing. So it sounds a little newer to me, but could you explain what a howaito kigyo here is in Japan?
Sure. White companies emerged as the antonym of black companies. They referred to popular companies among many people due to reasons such as well-established welfare benefits and low turnover rates. White companies tend to have high competition rates because they provide workers with a comfortable working environment.
And so I won't go through the whole article, but similar to how we explain like how to spot a black kigyo, here's like some things you can look for that look like a white kigyo, I guess. So, for example, Frankie mentioned the low turnover rate with long tenure.
Yep. Low overtime hours.
High paid leave utilization rate. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. With like companies that are not so good, you might be pressured not to take your holidays.
Your leave, yeah.
Okay, what else? Promotes diverse work styles. So
They're
maybe
open
they
to
don't have those
opinion.
set hours and
all that. Work from home is an option probably.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
Or hybrid work even, especially if you have like kids or something.
Yep.
clear performance evaluation criteria. And I think the last one is just opposite or obvious. Yeah.
No harassment.
Yeah. So basically the things that make up a white company are just the exact opposite of a black company. Like, I know it's kind of obvious, but yeah. And so when you are doing a job search, if you want to look for companies that, aren't black kigyo, that are white kigyo, you can spot or you can search for things such as, does the company frequently post job openings? If it's a yes, maybe they're not howaito. Yeah.
Yeah, because the high turnover.
Yeah.
Are the employee benefits generous?
Mm-hmm. This one, I really hate. It's my internalized misogyny, I think, speaking. I hate to admit, I didn't think of this next one, but are there female managers at this company? Good thing to look for, too. Yeah, exactly.
Is the employee age range balanced?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Are young employees working with enthusiasm?
I just imagine people at their computers
at the desk like, I love it here.
What a great day.
Yeah.
Has the company obtained certification?
Yeah. Okay. Have you seen that girl on TikTok? I can't remember her username at all, but she's like, her videos get so many views now, but it's like what I wore in the office today or like things I do at my company. And she's just kind of like dancing.
Oh, the one who's dancing?
Yeah, she just like dances in the
her
office.
Name too,
and then like it looks like she works with like mostly men, although there are women in her office, but like they're just chilling or they participate in her TikTok videos. I'm like, yeah, that company is that's like a howaito kigyo. Yeah. So it sounds like she found a good company to work for. Okay. So again, I was curious, what are the top ranked white companies in Japan? But before we get into that, I found an interesting, it's called like a white kigyo marking, like a positioning map. And so
what does that mean?
You just like, it's hard to explain for the audio only people, but it looks kind of like a little map with different benefits that a company offers. And so like a company, with benefits for like women, for example, menstruation leave or like childcare leave, they have good benefits. Like you get like a special mark for that. And then companies with, health, like who care about like mental health and stuff, like there's like a mark for that. And what's another one? Like high and enthusiastic, like younger employees working there, there's a mark for that. And so like the list I'm about to show, it's like the top ranked white companies have like all of those marks, basically. Like they give good health benefits, like good benefits for women, like good benefits for like younger people, like things like that is this positioning map that I found. Oh, another mark is like for child rearing. So like, they're very accommodating to people with children. Okay. So I found the top 3. Those are the only 3 I care about right now.
Out of 100.
Yeah. Because that list, like I'll show a screenshot.
Should we read all 100?
Yeah. It was long. Okay. But number 1 is
NTT, Nippon Telegraph and Telephone Corporation.
Yeah.
So Wi-Fi?
Yeah, Wi-Fi, like general, like if you still have a landline, like they do like all the phone stuff. I was a little surprised because, I don't know, NTT just sounds so old. Like telegraph, like.
I would have guessed they would be a black company.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, they're the top
they're
ranked.
Number 1, according to this,
the best of
position
the best.
marking map. Yep. Number 2 is Suntory Holdings. So we like talked about that.
We talked about them last episode.
Yeah. So number 2. So they're a brewing and distilling company here in Japan.
Okay, then we have Marui Group.
Yeah.
Retailing and fintech.
Yeah.
Do you know? The way that it's written, it's like
it's a circle
I.
Because maru means circle in Japan. Like,
with, like,
did you
E on
know
it?
that's how you're supposed to read marui?
No.
Okay.
Because they have like a department store too.
Yeah. So there's the marui department store, like especially in, I think, Shibuya, right? And like certain places of Japan. Yeah. So if you're familiar, it's the department store where it's like
oi.
Like I used to read it as the oi. Because it does look just like a O and an I. But yeah, that was my stupid fun fact about myself.
That's marui.
Yes, that is marui. Okay. But yeah, it's just super quick about white companies because it's pretty straightforward. Like good companies that aren't, exploiting your workers. Like that kind of qualifies. Yeah.
Kind of place you would want to work for.
But in my research, I was just curious, like about karoshi. Like, so going back to that, like how many deaths are, come from karoshi specifically each
Per
year in
year?
Japan. Yeah.
According to data compiled by Japan's Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare, there were 1,304 recognized cases of overwork-related deaths, karoshi, and health disorders in fiscal 2024, up 196
Per year?
per year. Of these, 247 involved strokes or heart conditions, and 1,057 depression and other mental health disorders. This is the first time that more than 1,000 cases of work-related mental health disorders have been recognized. Among these, 89 involved suicide or attempted suicide.
So, according to their data, power harassment was the most common cause of karoshi. And the highest number of karoshi cases, those people worked in the healthcare and welfare industry. Yeah. It's
In healthcare,
yeah,
too.
it's the irony of that is like really sad to see.
And welfare.
Yeah. And we can link it, but there's also like kind of a pie chart, like a table of what age group, is most affected by karoshi. So they range from 20 years old all the way up to 59 years old. But that chart, it's kind of all evenly dispersed. Yeah. So it doesn't affect just one age group here in Japan.
And then also, so how many people have worked for a Black company before? And according to the people they surveyed, over 70% had worked at one before. And of those, 55% quit.
So, I mean, that's a higher number than I was expecting.
Good.
It's good they're quitting. Yeah, but still.
It's not worth it.
The 70% of people like having worked at or at least what they consider a black kigyo before is like a devastatingly high number too. Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate enough. I don't think I have ever worked at a black company here in Japan, and I hope I never do if I continue working here. But yeah. Just sorry, this one was like kind of depressing, but good information.
There were some positive notes.
Yeah. But do you have any final thoughts about it? I mean, you also have, well, I guess besides the company that didn't give you a lunch break.
Yeah. But I mean, from the stuff we read, like it doesn't even seem that bad compared to dentsu, not densetsu.
Yeah. It is kind of hard too because I think everyone has their own different personal standards of like what they can gaman, like what they can endure and stuff as well. But
yeah,
I think overall, if they're like withholding your pay or
harassing
you or not paying you for your overtime or asking you to lie about overtime, I think those are pretty standard red flags of how to identify a black company here in Japan. Yeah. So
I would like to talk more in depth about power harassment and workplace bullying and stuff. It's really sad.
Yeah, and I mean, there's obviously all kinds of harassment all over the world, but Japan, like, there's a word for almost every single kind of harassment. Yeah, there's always something hara here, and yeah, it'd be interesting to get into in a future episode.
Well, I think because the hierarchy is very intense.
The hierarchy hara of it all.
Hayahara.
The hayahara. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening and watching to this one. I know it got a little dark, but we had some good moments. If you're out there searching for a job here in Japan, especially if it's kind of like your first time doing job hunting here in Japan, just be on the lookout for things that make up a black or a white company. And I hope it was useful to you.
Yeah, and if you are working for what you suspect to be a black company, there is no shame in quitting and finding something else.
We don't have to gaman through it.
No, you don't need to endure that. So your mental health is the most important thing.
Okay.
And physical and mental health.
Yes. Okay. All right, well, thanks for being here for another episode. It was so fun chatting. Let's go eat. Okay. All right. Bye.